Hi guys, this is Jen and I make useful English lit study videos on Shakespeare, poetry, fiction, literary devices and more to help you get top grades in the subject. So if this sounds exactly like what you need, then make sure that you hit the subscribe button below. So in today's video, I will be sharing some quick insights into 3 of the most important quotes by Juliet in Romeo and Juliet. I'll be looking at different aspects of style, syntax, and structure, and how they illustrate the purpose of each quote. So these are ideas that you probably won't find anywhere else on the web or in any study guides. So if you are after some creative, unique analysis about the play, then hang tight and make sure that you watch the whole video for some top grade content. Oh, Romeo, Romeo! Wherefore art thou Romeo? Deny thy father and refuse thy name. Or, if thou wilt not, be but sworn my love, and I'll no longer be a Capulet. Shall I hear more, or shall I speak at this? 'Tis but thy name that is my enemy. Thou art thyself, though not a Montague. What's Montague? It is nor hand, nor foot, nor arm, nor face, nor any other part belonging to a man. Oh, be some other name. What's in a name? That which we call a rose by any other name would smell as sweet. So Romeo would, were he not Romeo called, retain that dear perfection which he owes without that title. Romeo, doff thy name, and for that name which is no part of thee, take all myself. Now, one of the most important points in this speech is what Juliet means by the word name. Now, there are different possible meanings of name in this context, and the semantic nuances create interesting irony for our analysis. When Juliet imagines telling Romeo to refuse thy name, she means the word name as in the family name, Montague, not necessarily the personal name, which is, of course, Romeo. In fact, it may seem bemusingly ironic that for someone who so wants Romeo to disown his Montague name, Juliet obsessively repeats his first name, from the dramatic opening apostrophe of "Oh, Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou Romeo?" to the philosophical reasoning of "so Romeo would, were he not Romeo called," and the declarative command for "Romeo, doff thy name." So Juliet may imply with her rhetorical question, "What's in a name?" that the title with which we call something or someone is just a meaningless bunch of letters. But here's a paradox to consider. If a rose flower wasn't given its specific reference of rose, or if Romeo's parents didn't name their son Romeo in the first place, then how would Juliet be able to communicate to the audience clearly who it is or what it is she's talking about at any given point in the play? So as much as Juliet is anti-name, so to speak, by having her repeat her lover's name so many times in this short moment, Shakespeare reinforces just how important specific names are in the orbit of language and theatre. In addition to the obvious message that our family associations, our family name, shouldn't dictate our individual desires and wishes in the world of love, perhaps Shakespeare is also making a subtler point about the importance of specific reference, like a person or even a flower's name, when it comes to effective communication, at least in the world of drama. By the way guys, I'd massively appreciate it if you could hit the thumbs up button below, subscribe to my channel and switch on that bell notification if you find this video helpful so far. This would really help me carry on making these useful English lit study videos so that you can get top grades in the subject and we can inspire more people to enjoy the study of literature. 'Tis almost morning. I would have thee gone, and yet no further than a wanton's bird, who lets it hop a little from her hand, like a poor prisoner in his twisted gyves, and with a silk thread plucks it back again, so loving jealous of its liberty. I would I were thy bird, sweet, so would I, yet I should kill thee with much cherishing. Good night, good night. Parting is such sweet sorrow, that I shall say good night till it be morrow. Now, one of the most interesting stylistic features about this speech is the enveloped comparison of a simile within a metaphor. So in telling Romeo that she longs for him to stay and yet must bid him good night because Romeo must escape to Mantua after having killed Tybalt lest he be persecuted by the Capulets, Juliet first compares herself to a wanton, a mischievous child, and Romeo to a wanton's bird. She then compares the child to a poor prisoner with chained feet, who pulls the bird back towards him on a leash string because he's so jealous that the creature can fly freely, unlike himself. Now, this double-layered comparison in a comparison offers interesting clues about Juliet's psychology at this point. She harbours a protective, almost possessive impulse towards Romeo. And just as she twice wraps her analogic description, that simile within a metaphor structure, so she wishes to wrap Romeo up tightly as her own precious belonging, perhaps almost to the extent of suffocating it, indeed, in her words, to kill thee with much cherishing, which is the idea that by loving him so much and not be willing to let him part from her, she's obviously putting his life in peril. So this self-aware remark is both ironic and foreboding, because eventually Juliet's willingness to fake death out of her love for Romeo will indeed cause his fatal misunderstanding, indirectly killing him as he sees her still but asleep body in the burial vault, assuming that she's dead already, and as such commits suicide by drinking the potion, believing that if Juliet is gone from the world, then there is no point for him to live on. So another point to note in this speech is the oxymoron of the phrase sweet sorrow, when Juliet bids Romeo farewell with the remark, parting is such sweet sorrow. By placing the adjective sweet before the noun sorrow, Shakespeare suggests that saying goodbye to a lover whom you know you will meet again is actually more sweet than sorrowful, and more cause for happiness than melancholy. Because after all, why is it sweet sorrow instead of sorrowful sweetness? So the idea here then is that it is in romantic longing and blissful fantasizing that one feels most ardently in love. Essentially, Juliet's farewell implies that it is the temporary absence of a lover which creates the strongest feelings of love. But such strength of love could in fact also be its own kind of deadliness if taken to an extreme. Gallop apace, you fiery-footed steeds, towards Phoebus' lodging. Such a wagoner as Phaeton would whip you to the west and bring in cloudy night immediately. Spread thy close curtain, love-performing night, that runaway's eyes may wink and Romeo leap to these arms, untalked of and unseen. Lovers can see to do their amorous rites by their own beauties, or if love be blind, it best agrees with night. Come, civil knight, thou sober-suited matron, all in black, and learn me how to lose a winning match. Played for a pair of stainless maidenhoods, hood my unmanned blood, baiting in my cheeks with thy black mantle, till strange love, grown bold, think true love acted simple modesty. Come, night, come. Romeo, come, thou day and night, for thou wilt lie upon the wings of night, whiter than new snow on a raven's back. Come, gentle night, come, loving black-browed night. Give me my Romeo, and when he shall die, take him and cut him out in little stars, and he will make the face of heaven so fine that all the world will be in love with night and pay no worship to the garish sun. So this speech comes right before the nurse tells Juliet that Romeo has killed her cousin Tybalt and must thus be banished from Verona. But in her momentary ignorance of this disastrous news is a moment charged with the energy of sexual anticipation, because Juliet eagerly awaits the consummation of her and Romeo's marriage. Now, although it's delivered in private as a soliloquy, Juliet here exhibits a liberated attitude towards sex. And if we wanted to read this moment through Freudian lens, then we'll probably find more than a few sexual innuendos in here. For example, there's the allusion to Phaeton, the son of the sun god Phoebus, who drives the chariot, whipping you to the west, implying perhaps the thrill of sadistic sexual pleasure. There's also the repeated imperative of come night, come Romeo, come, 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 containing the sexual wordplay of the word come, or at least being a cue of seductive invitation from Juliet, who's here beckoning her lover hither like this bold siren. And finally, there's also the reference to spread thy close curtain, love performing night, which could be read as a rather graphic imagery of the woman's spread legs at the point of intercourse. But this line is especially interesting when viewed in meta-theatrical terms, because the actor here playing Juliet would indeed be performing these lines with a stage curtain that is already spread open when you think about it. So by drawing a subliminal analogy between the sexual act and the dramatic act, Shakespeare may be implying that what we may think of as the most private event, intercourse with our lovers in the dark, under the sheets, is actually no less performative than a public play. And so while partaking in the act of intercourse, we're also presenting a carefully crafted persona to our lover. Perhaps it could be of the chivalrous lover, hence the pun of civil knight, with the word knight being a homophone for knight, as in the soldier, the knight in shining armor. Or, from the woman's point of view, it could be the minx-like seducer, or the gentle maiden who may blush but secretly cannot wait for her deflowering, like Juliet in this moment. There's also quite a lot of diction relating to theatricality in this moment. For instance, there is Romeo playing the part of a love-performing knight. The knight here being compared to a sober-suited matron, and Juliet herself claiming to want to lose a winning match played for a pair of stainless maidenhoods, implying with the word played that even the process of losing her virginity is an event that is very much planned and performed, indeed played at, rather than a sort of natural occurrence which happens as the spontaneous result of two people falling in love. So the overall idea then is that perhaps love, even the most ardent, passionate sort, comes with a hearty dose of artifice and is often made exciting and pleasant not necessarily by the experience itself, which in fact often brings more pain than pleasure, but by being dressed up with the lover's imaginary love-craving mind. And that is it for this quick analysis of 3 of the most important Juliet quotes, everyone. So I hope you found the ideas interesting and helpful for your studies. And if you enjoyed it, please hit the thumbs up button below so that I can be encouraged to keep making these top grade analysis videos for you guys so that you can get top grades in English literature. And make sure to check out my other Romeo and Juliet videos if you haven't already. Links are all in the description box below. I've got more character analysis, sample essay walkthroughs and thematic discussions all in the playlist. Thank you for watching as always. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next one.